Here's what we got, folks. Alabama 1, Michigan 2, Georgia 3, Cincinnati 4. I want to know what you guys think, and also on the text line, 855-282-8255. I'm fine with the 4. And I think it's also funny because everybody said all year, by the way, I did too, so I'm putting myself in this conversation. We all said it's Georgia. Feels like Georgia and everybody else, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's the last game.
What happens? Yeah. Okay, but Alabama does what Alabama does, and then you actually start to look at Georgia's resume, and you realize, okay, they beat a Clemson team that's not your typical Clemson. Georgia's resume is not that great. They beat Clemson. They beat Kentucky. Everybody knows. Let's just be real. Big difference between the SEC East and the SEC West. SEC West is knockdown, drag out. SEC East, Georgia's beating up on Mizzou, Vanderbilt, Kentucky, South Carolina. Now, by the way, everybody, just so you know when I say that, I'm not saying that Georgia should not be in the playoff. I do think, though, that kind of all year long, we acted like it was a foregone conclusion that the Dogs were going to win the national championship. And, oh, by the way, Kirby Smart is not good in big games.
Why is that, though? Why?
Well, go back to the national championship game, the Tua game. Remember the big lead they had? Kirby Smart is not until.
But why
Kirby
you think
Smart,
that is, though? Like, I know the
is
record.
Is it the Nick Saban assistant coach curse?
Well, it's hard to beat Nick Saban. Let's be real.
Okay,
it's hard to beat Alabama, but if you're Georgia and you want to finally win your first national championship since 1980, you got to take down the big boys.
I know.
And just looking at this year, I think it's fair to say that even though I think Georgia's very good, by the way, would not surprise me one bit if Georgia beats Michigan and we have a rematch of that game. Look, there's no chance Cincinnati beats Alabama. I'll say that right now. And by the way, I want Cincinnati to win.
They got cool unis, by the way.
There is no chance.
Sick unis.
There's no chance that Cincinnati beats Alabama. And you can take this sound and you can send it to Freezing Cold Takes, Old Takes Exposed. By the way, that's a 14-point spread. The first time I looked at it, Alabama's going to win by 3 touchdowns.
When was the last time you get to Final Four with a 14-point spread? Is that normal? That's a good question, isn't it, Brooke?
Is that a good question?
That was a good question.
Thank you.
And I want to get your guys' opinion. I keep talking. But I'm fine. I'm glad Cincinnati is in because I think non-Power 5 schools, if they run the table, if they beat a Notre Dame, they deserve to get in. Guess what, though? I don't think they're better than Ohio State. I don't think they're better than Baylor. I don't necessarily think they're better than Ole Miss, potentially even Oklahoma State. But I root. It's hard to call them the little guys, but I root for those teams to get in. That being said, I think they're going to get absolutely annihilated.
Like what? By 30?
Well, what was the score of the game the other day? Alabama beat Georgia by what? Was it 17? You think they're gonna beat Cincy by less than that?
I don't know, man.
Would it surprise you? Would it surprise you if Alabama beat Cincinnati by 35 points?
For the greater good of just sports?
No, especially with the way that they're playing right now.
Dude, Alabama...
You want it to go the other way, but...
I know. I want Cincinnati to win.
Yeah.
I keep asking questions I don't know the answer to. What was the score of the national championship game last year, Alabama versus Ohio State? They destroyed them.
Yeah.
They destroyed the Ohio State University. What do you think Alabama's going to do to Cincy?
He was crying, too, Brooke.
I did cry.
Did you?
They're going to murder him. It's over.
I just, the thing is look, I went into the game this weekend with Georgia and Alabama saying, look, Georgia's going to have a chance here, because I thought I was buying into that whole thing of they've been fantastic this season. They have that great record. So on paper, you look at it and you're like, okay, Georgia should be able to win this, right? And then you start watching that game. And look, for a while watching some of the Alabama games, I'm like, I don't know if this team is your typical Nick Saban team. I don't know if they're that good this year, that kind of stuff. And then, but it's like they turned it on that game. They played up to their competition. I mean, Young, Heisman Trophy, just go ahead and give it to him now. That game was fantastic. It looked like a completely different team, but it looked like your true Nick Saban team. And you take that momentum into this, that's going to be huge for them.
A lot of people want some money on that game, too. A lot of people threw that +7. Like, okay. They threw a ton of coin down.
Well, if you took the money line, you almost got Bama 2-1 odds.
Yeah.
So you can get Bama with that deal.
He's got good hair, doesn't he, Brooke? Look at that mug. I'm not going to lie to you. I told him he needs to shave the beard a little bit, but it's all good.
It's longer than mine. No, I'm kidding.
It is worth noting, though,
It's close.
to piggyback what you were saying, that Georgia's defense hadn't given up more than 17 points all year.
There it is.
And
Yeah.
then they dropped 41.
It was like two different.
last
I
week.
mean, it was Alabama was doing everything that you expect a Nick Saban team to do in that game. I mean, they were running around the quarterback. Their quarterback was fantastic. It just looked like the Saban team that we've been used to. And look, I mean, that Alabama-Auburn game, I was like, ew, I don't like their chances really going further into this. But it was like a completely different team out there. They really played up, as I said, to the competition.
And that's where, whether it's gambling or just watching a game, in hindsight, after the game's played, if you kind of think back, again, Kirby Smart usually doesn't beat Nick Saban. But if you watched Georgia play this year, they were ridiculously dominant all year long, even if they're playing, for the most part, the SEC East teams. I probably watched more Alabama games this year just randomly than I have in previous years. Go back to Auburn. They had no business beating Auburn. What was it, 10-0 in the fourth quarter?
Yeah.
They come back to win that game. They beat Arkansas. Now, don't get me wrong, Arkansas is pretty tough. They beat Arkansas by a touchdown. It was a late score to make it a 7-point game,
Yeah,
but
that was
still,
a close game. Yeah.
LSU.
Third school, yeah.
LSU was a one-possession game in an LSU team that is not very good this year. So, to me, the line being 6.5, whatever it was, had to do with Georgia being ridiculously dominant and Alabama not playing up to the previous Alabama expectations, winning much closer, not covering the spread, not looking like your typical Alabama team, where I love Nick Saban's quote afterwards. And he's used this line before about rat poison. Says it all the time. I love it.
Yeah.
Says all that media talk, it's rat poison. And after that game,
saw that conference.
he said something along the lines of, usually you're rat poison out there, usually it's fatal. But guess what? This week, your rat poison, it was yummy.
Yummy.
Beautiful line. Everybody
So
laughed.
weird. So weird,
You don't
though.
want him. I mean, at the same time, it's like you always want to root against him, but that's just because he's so good at what he
Yep.
does.
You know what, though?
You don't
I
want to
know.
keep seeing him be
I
so
respect
dominant.
that, though.
But
Like, I just like...
you have to respect it, but
Yeah.
still, man, he's like the villain almost.
See, I also felt that way. I always compared he with Bill Belichick and the Patriots because they coach together. They're kind of the same person, but all the different Deflategate and Spygate, it's harder to root for Belichick, in my opinion. Nick Saban, it's the famous line from Anchorman when the Vince Vaughn character says something along the lines of, Ron Burgundy, I hate you, but damn do I respect you. That's Nick Saban. Once a dude wins, how many national championships does he have? He has so many you can't remember. I think it's 7. That's how many he has. You have to Google it. You forget how many national championships he has. And to me, he's not that unlikable.
Listen.
Well, wait a minute. You don't believe the rumors that before the NIL stuff that he was handing out money to the
I don't
players?
care about that.
Well,
That doesn't bother me.
was he... If you Google T-Town Menswear, you can go back in the day to the whole suit. They had their own little Ohio State tattoo gate with
Yeah.
T-Town Menswear, where apparently Julio Jones and some other players were getting free suits for signing autographs, allegedly, for a guy who then would get a bunch of autographs and sell them. Guess what? That doesn't bother me because 10 years ago I said it didn't bother me when Ohio State did it. It doesn't bother me.
Gives a damn.
Again, it's different. If you're going to do a Reggie Bush, I get a house. I get $250K. Okay.
We need to put our foot down.
Well,
Or whatever.
I'm glad now the kids get whatever they want. But
No
back
doubt.
in the day, I always said it's different to get $1 million or $500,000 or $250,000 than Ohio State players trading their jerseys for polo hats.
Can I say something real quick?
And tattoos. And Alabama kids getting a suit for their autograph. That doesn't bother me.
Hook these kids
He
up.
was about to jump out of his
No
chair.
one
Please
is going.
don't break the microphone.
But no one. I'll break another one. No one is going to the games to watch a coach or anything. Like, they're going to watch the players play. Now, let me say this about Nick Saban. And I don't know him that well. I don't know college football that well. But the greater good is who, as a coach, is helping the most kids get to the next level and be superstars. And he's the dude. Like, he's the guy. If you're a parent and he comes in your house, like, you're going if he talks to you, you're going to him because you know he's going to have you the best chance possible. And you could say, well, Alabama's this, well, whatever. Like, he's the one in charge. He's the one who gets the guys motivated. He has the system, the scheme, and everything. So you could hate him all you want, but that dude gets more guys in the NFL and more guys helping their parents and their family out with money and stuff like that than any other coach. And I don't know, ever, be honest with you.
How about
ever?
This? Text line 855-282-8255. Get him in.
Get him in.
Joe Booz Rum says, guys, how about the local kid, a Cardinal Ritter product, as the next star receiver for Bama, Jamison Williams. They call him J-Mo.
Let's go.
Remember, Jamison Williams, 2 years at Ohio State. Didn't get on the field a ton. Had a few catches for a couple years. Let's remember, though, too, Ohio State's receiver room is the best in the country. You got Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. It was hard for Jamison Williams to get on the field. And then he goes in the transfer portal, goes to Alabama, and is one of the best players in the country, going to be a first-round pick. In that game, he looked like the best player on the field. I know Bryce Young's going to win the Heisman. Mm-hmm. That man runs past everybody. When he caught that crossing route and just, boom, turned on the afterburner, 7 catches, 184 yards, 2 touchdowns. His numbers on the season are fantastic. And how about that Cardinal Ritter team? I believe it was for 1 year. Somebody tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe his senior year would have been Luther Burden's freshman year. So you'd had Jamison Williams and Luther Burden on the same team.
Lord.
That's insane.
So Jamison Williams, 68 catches on the year, 1,445 yards, 15 touchdowns. He's the best receiver in the country, in my opinion. And the last mock draft I looked at, he was like a mid-round pick, like 15th-ish, which makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic
Love to
for
see
him.
that.
And I feel like we talked about that last week about sometimes you got to find the right school, the right system to really finally break out and do what you need to do. And it's worked out great for him. As you said, look, with Nick Saban, I feel like I think maybe it's just his personality or something that comes off why people just don't rally around him as much. But you're right, Cam. He has done, a lot of great things. You can't deny his resume. He hasn't had the big scandals like Belichick did. It's
not really. Like, he's not a weirdo getting hookers on a private jet, calling them.
Yeah,
and
then also, did you see that? Was it after the Auburn game? I don't know if you saw on social media that cute video of his wife waiting for him.
Miss Terry.
I know.
And she was just like with her little pom-poms, and he had the biggest smile, and I was like, oh, that was so
That's
sweet.
Cuteness.
It was cute.
I like you more because of your cuteness.
That's
like,
how it works, though.
Be normal.
If you have like a cranky husband, you have to have like the sweet wife to go with it.
That's how it is.
That's how it works.
That's why I got Kate. I'm cranky. She's a sweetheart. That's how it goes.
And here's another part of this. Nick Saban, whatever happened back in the day, and it happens at all big programs, I truly believe that, he does run a clean program from also the sense of, do you hear a lot of stories about Alabama kids doing things
weird
poorly
things
off the field?
Yeah.
You don't.
No, you don't.
And we're talking about the best college football program in the country, and I'll give you a comparison. Urban Meyer. Did Urban Meyer, does he always win a lot of games? Yes, but that's all the man cares about. And I'll say that as a person that he was an Ohio State coach, and he won basically almost every game. Went 12-1, 13-1 every single year. Urban Meyer, everywhere he went, there was controversy.
Yes.
With players, off the field,
with
coaches, with not reporting this, not reporting that, players running amok. Why is that? Because, look, Urban Meyer is a great college football coach. He's obsessed with winning. He's obsessed with winning to the point where he
lays off
things. 100%.
Yep.
I mean, 100%. Nick Saban, you do not see the same type of off the field stories with Nick Saban as you did with Urban Meyer.
Well, and I think maybe it's just that standard that he set because, like you said, Cam, to your point of, look, if you're going to Alabama and Saban's coming into your living room when you're a high school recruit, you know that he's going to take you to the next level if you do what's right. If you follow his system, you follow his plan. Yeah. And so he already has that standard set there. And also, how big of an idiot do you have to be to get kicked off the team and then you just ruin all your chances?
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he put that standard
it's one
out
night when drinking could do it. I mean,
Another one of the great Nick Saban rants or press conferences is about one of his players from Michigan State. Remember Muhsin Muhammad? Muhsin Muhammad was a really good NFL receiver, Bears, Carolina Panthers. And anybody who's listening right now, Google this audio. It's about 2 minutes. It's really, really good. And it was Nick Saban at Alabama, and somebody asked him about a player who had done something wrong. And Nick Saban said, basically, we punished him, suspended him. We're going to make him do all the different early morning running and all that, but didn't kick him off the team. And a lot of people criticized him. And Nick Saban brought up, he goes, you know what, 20 years ago, whatever it was, when I was at Michigan State, everybody wanted me to get rid of Muhsin Muhammad because he did something wrong. Whatever it was, fight, I don't remember. But he did something either in high school or in college. He said, everybody wanted me to get rid of Muhsin Muhammad. He said, what am I going to do then? I'm going to kick him off. Where's he going to go? He's going to go to the streets. It's going to be worse. I kick him off the team. He has no structure. He has no football. He has no college.
There it is.
It's going to go worse.
Yep.
So guess what I did? I made him pay his punishment, sit out, do all the running, this and that. And guess what? Muhsin Muhammad becomes a really good college player at Michigan State. He has something like a 15-year career in the NFL. Carolina
$100 million
Panthers makes a ton of money. Chicago Bears. And then Nick Saban brings up the fact.
So
hold on. Nick Saban brings up the fact that Muhsin Muhammad's kid now is going to an Ivy League school, and Muhsin Muhammad is running a company. That's
funny how that
what
works.
A second chance can do. Otherwise, if you kick that person off the team and they do end up in the streets, they could get into more criminal activity.
Aaron Hernandez, Lou was the same way. Lou Lamoriello, same way.
Let me say this.
Good
First
point.
of all, this is a really funny moment for me because I needed to Google what I even said. Just putting it out there. I was just saying it was a rumor, but I got Tennessee mixed up with Alabama. Tennessee was the one that was putting money in McDonald's bags and giving it to players.
Oh, I like that.
Oh,
I like
with
how-
the burger too.
I don't know.
Which coach was that? I do remember that.
Do you
who is this
remember
guy?
that?
Get
Okay.
him on. Get him on the
I have
show.
to say, because when you said Alabama, that story didn't ring a bell.
Yeah. So no, it's Tennessee. Who was this? Was this this was recently.
Give me that Big Mac and that Cohen.
And it didn't help them, by the way.
No, it did not.
No,
No,
win
they
the game.
sucked,
I can tell you that. But
These are the coaches you got to get on.
But there is an article by the New York Times. Alabama football accused of recruiting violations, including paying players and using strippers.
Alabama.
Is that frowned
Parties
upon,
with
Brooke? Is
strippers.
that frowned upon?
What, strippers?
Yeah.
I mean,
It
I
is.
don't know.
No, it is. It is. 100%. No, it's ridiculous. I'm just joking. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Isn't it weird how that happens? So, like, how do you even
either
do
way,
that?
I mean, how many schools and programs? First of all, we don't know if that's verified or not. Just could be rumors, anything. That was so long ago. This article was like from years ago. And how many programs and schools have we heard of doing that exact same thing? So it seems like it almost is like you had to do that to get an edge in recruiting because another school was doing that, right?
Yeah.
Is it right?
Taking them to
I
strip
don't
clubs.
know. I mean, if you're 18
so
years old,
weird.
you're allowed to go to one, right?
Yeah. No, you're not.
Wait.
In Ohio, you used to be.
And
What,
18 to
huh?
go to Ripper?
Yes,
You don't have
could
to be 21 to
18 years
walk
old.
in that mug?
No.
I remember back in
I
the
don't
day.
think so.
Back in the day in Ohio, you could go to a strip club at 18.
At 18?
So
I know
I
in
heard.
Canada you can.
So you heard.
That
I
was
don't know.
kind of a ritual.
Rippers or
Tennessee,
whatever.
Tennessee, I think is 18 and up.
18?
BYOB.
So what's the
if
point?
you're
What's
21
the point of
and
that?
older.
What's the point of that though? You're not spending any money there. You're going to eat their food. You're not buying booze. So now it's just a hazard. Why not make it
Well, yeah,
21?
because it's BYOB in Tennessee.
Oh snap! And so, oh really? How do they even make money then?
Well, there's other things you can do. You
There's
don't have to get
Yeah,
into
well,
it.
you got to get shady then.